on, man? Today is May the 14th, 2024. It's Chris, and this is the ChrisBeCappinn NBA Show, live on Twitter, live on YouTube as well. I apologize. I know I'm running like 15 minutes late today. It's getting worse as the season goes on, man, as the playoffs go on. But we do have WNBA today, and I wanted to finish up some cap for the WNBA, and we will be talking about the WNBA. So I guess I gotta change the top two to the ChrisBeCappinn NBA and WNBA show. But coming off, and I see everybody in the comments, man. Appreciate you guys for being here. WNBA day is today. I actually forgot I had my hoodie on, man. Let me get the W shirt out, man. It is the WNBA day. Excited to talk, women's basketball. We got 4 games, and I'm gonna go through them, kind of give you guys my thoughts, and we're gonna jump into it for today, man. Let's jump into it for today. Yesterday, another unfortunate day. I had one play yesterday. It was the Cleveland Cavaliers team total under 98.5, and this was, of course, before we knew Donovan Mitchell wasn't gonna play. Donovan Mitchell does not play, and Boston gives up like 102 points last night. So unfortunate there. The Dallas Mavericks, I really like the Oklahoma City Thunder yesterday. I talked about taking that team total under. That was a winner. Kendrick Williams didn't score the ball yesterday, but still finished with like 8 points, rebounds, and assists. So he did go under the number as well. I didn't think that OKC was going to be able to come back if they did get down, but you see them really turn up in the fourth quarter specifically. I think it was 27-15 to win the game yesterday. I had faith in them yesterday. So that team total would have cashed. Kendrick Williams would not have cashed. But yeah, it was an unfortunate day if you like the Boston Celtics. Just, kind of took their foot off the gas. I think because Donovan Mitchell wasn't there, especially in the first and second quarter. But we'll try to do a little bit better today. Definitely try to do a little bit better today. ChrisBeCappinn t-shirt giveaway members. I got to send out maybe 4 t-shirts. And I'll be honest with you guys. I did not get a chance to go back and see who was the closest. I will double check that and figure out who the winners will be. I'll announce it on the show tomorrow for yesterday's game, for both of the games. And then if you guys want to pick for tonight, you can as well. We got 2 games, the Pacers and the Knicks, and the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Denver Nuggets. So if you guys want to try to figure out, which team you think is going to win and give me a projected score, you guys can enter. Members can enter for a ChrisBeCappinn t-shirt. Just let me know. 1 guess per game, and your first guess is your only guess. You just got to make sure the entry's done before the game actually tips off. And like I said, tomorrow I'll announce the winners for yesterday, and start sending out some t-shirts. So let's jump into the games for today, man. First game up, I'm going to do NBA first, and then we'll touch on WNBA right after. So first game up, we got the Pacers, and we got the New York Knicks. Line in this one open with the Knicks laying 2. The line is now 2.5, as you guys can see. Total opened at 217. It's down to 216.5. And this it's serious. Getting pretty interesting, man. Pacers have had double-digit leads in all 4 games so far. Of course, they gained a big lead on Sunday, 34-14 at the end of the first quarter. Never really turned back. They won the second quarter by 8. So the game was pretty much over with at halftime. Third quarter, they dominated the Knicks again. And there's a couple different ways you can kind of look at the game. You can think, the Knicks, the Pacers don't have OG Anunoby. He will miss this game again. And that's huge because the Knicks are down bodies now without OG Anunoby to go on the list of Mitchell Robinson, Bojan Bogdanovic, and Julius Randle. Whereas the Pacers are healthy. Outside of Ben Mathurin, I think Tyrese Halliburton is listed as questionable with the back injury, the sacrum injury, the back spasm injury, the sacrum injury, and the right ankle injury, but he looked fine. And that was the only thing that kind of kept me off the Pacers. I knew they had more bodies. It's just really, really difficult for me to look towards the Pacers in this spot. It is a short number. It's a much shorter number than when the last 2 times these teams were played in New York. But I mean, first thing I want to mention is the Knicks. They did have a players only meeting. Those players only meetings typically, mean something, especially around this time of the season. I know that the Pacers are short. I know that the Knicks are short-handed, but everything that you hear from Tom Thibodeau, from Jalen Brunson, that's come out has said we have enough. We feel like we have enough, and there's no excuses. So even without OG Anunoby, I know they still kind of feel that way. And you go back and just look at game 4. I mean, the Pacers shot 67% from the field, 45% from the three-point line. I mean, those numbers were astronomical. Whereas you get the Knicks, they shot just 33% from the field, 19% from the three-point line. I think a lot of it was the quick turnaround. Remember, it was only one day. It was only one day of rest in between game number 3 and game number 4, and that definitely, Pacers have more bodies right now, so that definitely helped the Pacers a little bit more, because the Knicks don't get dominated like that on the rebound. They got out rebounded 52-43 in game 4, and they dominated the Knicks in the fast break 22-5, and points in the paint was 60-40. But there's a very strong trend that won't allow me to play the Pacers here, and that is teams that previously lost by 20 on the road, and then they're a home favorite in the next game, 47-20 straight up, 39-28, which is 58.2% on the spread, says that the Knicks bounce back and win this game today. 47-20, not something I really want to bet against, as far as the strong playoff trend. I do think I think you could 47-20 is 70.1%, by the way, as well. Says that if you like the Knicks, you could just take them on the money line here. Really difficult for me to want to bet against the Knicks, especially after they got embarrassed like that in game number 4. As far as the total, I do kind of think this is going to be an over game. I think the Pacers are going to still play fast. I think the Knicks are going to score the basketball a little bit better. So I know the total is dropping from 217 down to 216 and a half. But I do think this is an over-type game. I think the Pacers will still try to play fast. I think the Knicks will have to match that, and I think this one goes up and over. So if you want to stay away from the side, I do think the total is. I can see the Pacers not going to shoot the ball as bad as they did, but I don't think that the New York Knicks are going to shoot the ball as bad as they did. So will the Pacers score another 121 points? I don't think so, but I do think that the Knicks will be able to get their offense together here. And I think that they're going to have to. Alex Burke, guys off the bench. I think I like the total a little bit more than the side, too. I think I like the total a little bit more. Over 216. There's some 216s out there. Over 216, I think it would be my preferred way of playing this game. Let's go to the comments real quick, and I'm going to try to keep it short because we do got to get through the 4 WNBA games as well. Davis says WNBA is back, baby. Fever in the sky will feed a village. Tonight it's either Knicks blowout W or Pacers are winning in the clutch. Siakam has shown up. No ifs, ands, or buts. And it makes perfect sense, David. No OG and Anunoby out there makes life so much more easier. I mean, you can throw Josh Hart at him, but Josh Hart's 6'4", Siakam's like 6'9". So that makes a ton of sense. LJ, what's going on, my brother? He says, shout out to top of the morning, Chris. Shout out to Jason Tatum over 3 with a 3-point shot to cover the first half -4.5. I know a lot of people went back to that yesterday, so glad you cashed there. Domo says needed that 3-point shot. Hopped off his chair. Derek says Derek White and Kyrie blew my parlay. Yeah, both of those guys did not show up last night like I thought that they would. I thought Derek White would have a big game. Says, what up, though, Chris, in the chat? Why isn't Kyrie scoring the basketball? Man, we could talk about that. We'll get to that later. Top of the morning, J Muse. Mom is just a bet. Says, I'm ready for ChrisBeCappinn bobbleheads. We don't have any of those yet. Top of the morning, PG says Celtics first quarter, but the Mavs game over 201 live. He played it, and that was gross. What's up, Tasha? Justin in here, as always. Good morning, Justin. My God. Mark here as well. Dano here. I think this is a new name, but good morning to you as well. What up, Jose? They know minding people to hit the like button. David says, I was so invested in Kyrie yesterday. I laddered his points from 20 to 45 on Bet365 yesterday. Kept hearing y'all voices. Keep your voices down. Oh, man. Yeah, I was definitely in the lab this morning. What's up, Eric? Always here with us in the morning. El Boogie, top of the morning to you as well. He says WNBA is back. We're going to get into that in a second. Good morning, people. Been watching for a couple weeks now. Decided to comment for the first time. What a night in the NBA. Appreciate you, Star Wars Unlimited, for being here this morning. Frank says, soon as Mitchell got ruled out, I had a feeling first half bets would get mashed. So they still covered it, but they didn't cover the full game. They won by 7, was laying, it opened at 8, and I think it closed at 11.5. So people who back the Cavs for a game, you smart, you know, braver than me. I thought it was going to be a blowout, but that's what Boston does, though. They let up off the gas. Nando in here says good morning. He likes the Pacers on the money line. Justin says he's taking Josh Hart over his 27.5 points and rebounds. Top NBA bet today. It makes a lot of sense. He had a terrible game in Game 4. David says he got the Pacers winning 108-104. Tasha likes that Pacers team total over. PZ says I'm leaning Pacers money line or nothing. It's a difficult game, man. It's a very, very difficult game. Conventional wisdom tells me to take the Pacers. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. But I just know the Knicks gonna have something in store. I do kind of feel like the Knicks gonna have something in store. Tasha says New York back at home. This is where they will get all the calls, and that could be a part of it, right? Getting the calls. Domo says recovering on the road is way harder than at the crib. Knicks get back on track tonight. And Gabe says I feel like in Game 4 it almost seemed like the Knicks didn't try hard enough to preserve their energy. I see them coming out with a lot of energy in the first quarter. First half was something I was actually looking into for the Knicks, man. I kind of feel like players only meeting. I kind of feel like, they didn't play as hard because they knew they weren't going to win that game at a certain point too. So I kind of agree with this, Gabe. I do think as the game goes on, it's probably more of a Pacers spot. Although in this series, as the game goes on, it's been more of a Knicks spot. Knicks have dominated, especially the first few games. Game 1, 2, and 3, I think. They were averaging like 70 points in the second half, but now with no OG Anunoby, this is another person that played big minutes for this team that's not going to be available. He's already been ruled out. SK says he cashed on Tatum over his 2.5 threes when he saw Mitchell out. Blowout risk, he had 2. Man. JV says, good morning. This is a tough one to bet. Knicks early maybe, and then run out of gas. And I kind of like Knicks first half too, Jamie. It makes a ton of sense. Definitely makes a ton of sense. Steven said he had the Boston first half. And as soon as Mitchell was ruled out, I took Cavs and parlayed it with OKC with a bonus bet. Okay. Jaylene says, heard about the morning show from Cal Kearns. Shout out to my guy Cal. We'll be on with Cal today. What up, John? What up, Isaiah? Jordan says Thunder Buddies got Hart. Got to respect that team. Yeah, I didn't think that they were going to go out like that. Freebond likes the Knicks. And let's keep it pushing. We got a lot of other games to get into. Steven says, always when a player is ruled out, all of a sudden, I'm going to take the other team against the spread. You just kind of wait till the line get as big as it gets. And then I couldn't talk you off. Could not talk you off at all. My opinion, not yours, says feels like a Brunson masterclass type game. And I could see Brunson having a big bounce back spot here. He did not play well in game number 4. And Nando, last comment, he says Pacers the better team, plus Knicks gaslight is low. I mean, that's true too, right? I saw a tweet yesterday. Last thing I'll mention before we move on, I saw a tweet yesterday that said that the Pacers, they didn't play against Giannis at all in the first round, and then Dame got hurt, and now you got all the injuries with the New York Knicks as well, with them missing 4 rotational players, not even rotational players, 4 starters. Not Bogdanovich, he probably wouldn't start, but it's a lot of guys on the injury report now. The injury report list based on how their season started. So that's why it really wouldn't surprise me if the Pacers were able to, find a way to win this game. I think if you like the Knicks, you probably do want to look early. In my opinion, I just think that they got to come out with something, especially after getting steamrolled early in the game. All right. I said last comment. It's going to be the last one. Steven likes Neesmith points and rebounds. Couldn't talk them all. DJ Prop says, what's good, Chris? Remember, I said this. OKC will beat Boston in the finals. No Porzingis will be a factor to get OKC the series win. Okay. I don't know if I agree with that, Prop, but we all entitled to our opinions, man. Don't let me talk you off. That's what you like it. All right, let's keep it pushing. Let's go to Denver now. So this game opened with the Timberwolves. Denver was laying 4.5. It's still 4.5. It's down to 4 on some books. Total opened at 207, and it's down to 205.5. So we can't talk about this game without talking about game number 4. In the last few games, of course, Minnesota, if you pick the road team to win every single game, which I highly doubt people have, you've been completely right every single time. After game 1, I remember people telling me Minnesota was, going to win the series. I was like, I like Boston. I like Denver to bounce back. And Denver, Denver did not bounce back. My money was on Denver in game 2. And then when it got to, game 3, I said, man, Minnesota looks like just a better team. I don't think Denver's going to be able to score the basketball, and I was wrong. People were still telling me that Minnesota was going to sweep the series at that point. And then now I got people then I started hearing, when Denver won one, it was Denver in 7. So I don't think people really know what's going on in this series, honestly. Looking back at game 3, though, looking back at game 4, it was a tad bit different than game number 3 was. But the thing that changed the most was Denver's just ability to be able to score the basketball. They scored 29 points in the end of the first quarter, 35 points in the second quarter. And I mean, they were well over their team total, on pace to go over their team total in both of those spots. Denver's offense, I mean, if they're going to shoot the ball as well, it's going to be really, really difficult to bet against this team. 57% from the field. This is against the number 1 defense in the NBA. 57% from the field, 45% from the three-point line. They didn't even win the rebounding battle. They were out-rebounded by 11. On the offensive glass, out-rebounded by 7 overall, and still, scored 115 points, went well over their team total. And a lot of it, shout out to, I think it was Dano in the comments, who talked about that Chicago action that Denver was running, where, now instead of Jamal Murray bringing the ball up the court and exerting a whole bunch of energy, they're getting Aaron Gordon involved. He's bringing the ball up the court. Him and Jokic are bringing the ball up the court and kind of establishing the offense. And Denver they got to make up their mind and figure out what they're going to do as far as guarding Jokic. Because when you double, I mean, you look at the assist numbers, they had 29 assists on 45 made baskets. It was the playmaking, in my opinion, in the shot selection. And also, I think you just got to look at Jokic. I mean, he's the best player in the NBA by far. We didn't see it in game 1 and game 2, but when the backs were up against the wall, I mean, the dude had 35 points, 15 for 26 from the field. And it really was nothing that Rudy Gobert, Naz Reid, Karl-Anthony Towns could do against this guy. 35 points to go along with, what did he have? 7 rebounds, 7 assists. And it was a collective effort as well, especially if the bench is going to play that well. Naz Reid, it feels like he's hasn't played as well since those first 2 games. He did have 11 points, but nobody else on that bench outside of Nickeil Alexander-Walker made a basket. Their bench scored 13 points. And if Justin Holiday is going to play that well and give you 10 off the bench and hit 3 threes, and Christian Braun's going to give you 11, and Reggie Jackson is going to hit a knock down a couple threes, the Timberwolves don't have a fighting chance, in my opinion. Not if Michael Porter Jr. And Michael Porter Jr. didn't even play well. He had 4 points. Jamal Murray had 19. He had 3 hit 7 threes. And if they're going to play that well, especially Aaron Gordon, 11 for 12 from the floor, like that, I don't think that's going to replicate itself, which is where I'm going with the play here. 27 points for Aaron Gordon. He hit both of his threes, 7 assists and 6 rebounds. I mean, he had a Jokic game. 27, 7, and 6 for Aaron Gordon running the offense. Nobody really helped Anthony Edwards. He had 44 points, but he made most of the shots. Karl-Anthony Towns was an absolute no-show, finishing with 13 points and 12 rebounds, only 5 for 18 from the floor. And Rudy Gobert also just didn't really do a lot. He had 11 points and 14 rebounds, but turned the ball over 5 times, got in foul trouble. Jaden McDaniels didn't really help. Mike Conley had a subpar game, but I really was their defense. And that's where this is where I want to go with the play. I like the under here. 205 and a half is the number. It's already coming down from 207. And I think that's sharp money here. I just think that, one, there's some regression that's going to come from the Denver Nuggets. I don't think that they're going to shoot 57%. I know they're back home. I know it kind of feels like they figured out Minnesota's defense. I think Minnesota brings their best defensive effort here. And we've seen them play really good defense on the road so far as well. So I like Denver. I like Denver to struggle to score just a tad bit more. I don't think they're going to shoot 57% from the floor, 45% from the three-point line. I also think that Minnesota's defense is going to be better. And I expect Denver's defense to still be really, really good. I don't expect Minnesota's offense to, 107 points isn't the worst. I mean, they shot 47% from the floor. I think there's regression from both teams. I don't think Minnesota shoots that well from the floor. They shot 39% from the three-point line. I can see them struggling to make threes, and especially if Karl-Anthony Towns is not going to respond, and that bench isn't going to show up. I mean, if they don't show up at home, I can't really expect them to play but so much better on the road. So under in this game, I haven't gotten a bet right in the series. Remember, I got the under in the first half right in game number 1. In game 2, I was on Denver. That was wrong. In game 3, I think I stayed off in Denver, but I really wanted to take the Timberwolves, thinking that the series was over. No, I didn't play it, but I leaned that way. And in game 4, I did like Minnesota to go up 3-1, and I was wrong on that as well. So I'm going back to the total here. Under 205.5 is my best look in this game. Let's see what you guys are seeing before we move on. Nando says he likes the under. Lodomo says mile high, baby T-Wolves shaking in their boots right now. Solden Willie says I got Denver again covering the spread. What up to my guy, Si? What up, Si? Domo says no bet for me though, too invested as a Nuggets fan. Nando likes mini plus the 4 and Jokic to get a triple-double here. Jamie says I got to fade the Timberwolves today, man. Denver seem motivated and they have the experience factor here. It's if somebody tells you they think they know what's gonna happen in this series, man, I don't know if I trust them. I have no idea what's gonna happen in this series. It does kind of feel like Denver has figured out Minnesota, but I mean we could say the same thing in game 1 and game 2. I don't know if Chris Finch and that coaching staff is gonna have an adjustment for what Minnesota has been able to do the last few games. I mean what Denver's been able to do the last few games. We'll see. Domo says MPJ hasn't even had a good game yet. I think he may have the good game tonight, and that's a fact. I agree. SK says lots of shots going up pretty early in the shot clock in the last game would lean full game over the 205.5. I think the opposite, man. I think the pace slows down here. Yeah, I mean, it does correlate with 2 overs back-to-back. Denver Nuggets have won both games, so maybe even a Denver team total over, but I like the full game under. I think Minnesota brings it defensively just a tad bit more and does make some adjustments to slow down Denver's offense. And I think Minnesota could continue to struggle to score. Robert R. says Denver takes 2 on the road. The first 2 games, they weren't fired up. Now they are. Happily lost in game 3 on my bets. Game 4, I got my belief back in the boys. So then Willie says he likes the under. Mr. Cash Out says, how do you feel about Denver team total over? I mean, if you think that they're going to continue to be able to score the basketball, Cash Out, maybe you take it. I just expect the Timberwolves defensive effort to be a little bit better. And I do not think, even if Aaron Gordon regresses, right? He shot 11 for 12 from the field, 2 for 2 from the 3-point line. I read you his numbers. I don't know if he regresses enough to where Michael Porter Jr., is able to, compensate for, all of the action that was had in that spot. Now, does Michael Porter Jr. play better today than the 4 points that he scored? I think absolutely yes, but I don't know if it's going to be enough to counteract what Aaron Gordon was able to do. And let's look at those team totals real quick. So Denver's team total was 104.5 and Minnesota's is 101.5. I just think it's going to be a very low scoring game. I think the pace will slow down. And I expect the shot making not to be there. I just think as the series goes on, the defense will get better. So yeah, I would think under, but don't let me talk you off if you like it. Domo says I like that under, might put it in my pocket. Tasha says she likes the Timberwolves team total. The team total over 100.5 for the Timberwolves here. Stephen says he agrees with the under, but I'm confused with the side, and I am too. I'm not even gonna try to figure it out. David says Nuggets win 111-108. Roger says this is a Denver spot. LJ says Jokic is averaging a triple-double last 5 game 5s of the playoff series, so he gets better with time. LJ says. Justice says, I just need Nuggets, and I mean the Nuggets to win the series. I bet Nuggets future 3 times chasing after game 1 and game 2. You definitely need it then, Justin. Ooh, boy. Yeah. Prop says, I think Towns over 1.5 threes is a good look and will ladder up to 4 at plus 400. That's some pretty good value, Props, because he's going to get the looks. It's just, is he going to be able to knock him down, man? He shot the ball so bad in game 3. And you could just, in game 4, and you could tell just, in his body language that he wasn't, super connected. But the shots will be there. He shot 1 for 4. So if you just need him to make 2, Karl-Anthony Towns, one of the better big men 3-point shooters we've seen in 3-point shooting for big men in NBA history. John says, sounds like a rebounding game. It does sound like a rebounding game. If you like the unders, I always, correlate that with looking at some under props. All right, so let's move on. We got 4 WNBA games, man, and we got to talk about them here. 4 WNBA games before we get into a recap. So first up, you switch over to my WNBA notes. We got the Liberty and the Mystics. I don't know if you guys follow. A lot of people probably don't follow, so I would like to do, just like some off-season stuff, kind of let you guys know what I had in my notes. But we'll just talk about the games today. First game up, we'll go Liberty and Mystics. This line opened with the Liberty actually laying 13 points as road dogs here. The lines come down to it's all the way down to 10, back up to 11. I think I agree with the movement going back to 11 here. And the total open 166, it's down to 163.5. So money has come in on the under here. So Liberty are by far the better team. This is a conference game. These two teams do not like each other. It was a playoff game last year as well. The Liberty are returning all 5 of their starters from last year. So they automatically have an advantage in this spot. And why you see the line so big here with them opening as 13-point favorites. Sabrina Ionescu, Courtney Vandersloot, Benaja Laney, Jaquel Jones, and Breanna Stewart will be in their starting lineup for the Liberty tonight. And this was a team that could score the basketball a lot, like really, really well last year. And they get a Washington Mystics team that will not look the same as they did last year. The Washington Mystics lost some key players in the offseason. So let's go through it real quick. They got Stephanie Dolson, who actually comes over from the Liberty. She played for the Liberty last year. But they lose Elena Deladon, who stepped away from basketball for the time being. Queen Egbo was traded to the Connecticut Sun. And they also lost Natasha Cloud, who was really, really big on this team. You still got Brittany Sykes. You still got Ariel Atkins, who will be in the starting lineup. Samuelson comes over. Carly Samuelson comes over from the Sparks. And Shakira Austin, who will be on the minutes limits today, will return for the Mystics. She missed a lot of time last season. So this is a really, really tough game because based on style of play, in my opinion, you got a fast-paced team in the Liberty versus a slow-paced team in the Mystics. On the preseason, the Mystics did lose both of their preseason games. And over last year, even though, like I said, I think they're going to take a big step back, they did finish 12-8 straight up at home, 11-9 against the spread. Washington was an under team at home. They averaged just 160.7 points game total in their home games, and they were 11-8-1 to the under. I mentioned Shakira Austin. I went through and listened to the post-practice interview. She's on a minutes limit, but they won't say how long. The coach wouldn't say how like what her minutes limit will be. And I think for me the biggest part of this game is no Elena Deladon. EDD on the floor last season. This team was a plus 16. With her off the floor, their offense got tremendously worse. Their defense got tremendously worse. So it really comes down to, do you think the Liberty going to be able to slow down this Mystics team? And I kind of feel like they can, even though they were a defensive team on the road offensive team on the road last season. They finished 20-5 straight up with just 11-14 against the spread. And it was because they were laying these big numbers like this. They were also an over team, 15-10 to the over on the road and 7-1 to the over to end the season in their last 8 road games. So I haven't played this game yet, but if I had to play it, I think I would look towards probably towards an under. I think the Mystics are going to struggle to score. With no Natasha Cloud there, I think the Liberty can play some defense, especially with their starters. Their bench isn't as I would say isn't as decorated based on some of the players that they lost and some of the players that are unavailable right now. So I think if I had to play the game, I would look towards the under. I do think the Liberty can win the game by double digits as well. So I would lean towards them. Laying the points, because I do think the Mystics is going to take a big step back this season. So those are my thoughts on the first game. Y'all probably didn't even add anything here. Let's see. PZ says maybe a Mystics team total under. Yeah, I thought about this. I did consider this. Like I said, I didn't play it yet. Rogue says, I like the Mystics plus 10.5 for sure. So thinking that the Mystics still will be able to score. And I kind of disagree with that. Like, I think Shakira Austin and Brittany Sykes are really good players, but Shakira Austin being on the minutes limit scares me a lot. and I'm not sure where they're gonna get where they're gonna get their offense from. I really think that the Mystics could struggle to score the basketball here. If the Liberty were at home, I probably would be looking towards their team total, the Mystics team total under here. Let's see. Cash Out says also Liberty revenge spot from last year. From last year opener. Yeah, they did get smoked last year in the opener against the same team. Mystics did lose to the Liberty in the playoffs last year. That was a crazy game for people who remember that one. But let's keep going. Next game up, we'll go Fever in the Connecticut Sun. We'll just go down and then go across. So Fever opened at 6.5. Well, Fever actually opened as 5.5 point road dogs. And this line is up to 6.5. It's actually touching 7, which is new because it wasn't at 7 earlier. And the total is moving down. 170.5 is where it opened. It's down to 167.5. And this is a game where I do kind of feel I do kind of have a stronger opinion on. And I like the Connecticut Sun here. So of course the Indiana Fever, they drafted Caitlin Clark. They have Aaliyah Boston. They have Eric Wheeler returning. Nalissa Smith will be back as well. So the Fever are going to be pretty good. I just don't like that Kelsey Mitchell is going to be missing from this team. She's listed as doubtful with an ankle injury. I don't think that she's going to play. Kelsey Mitchell was nice last year. She finished 10th, the 10th leading scorer in the WNBA. She averaged 18 points per game. And granted, they do have Caitlin Clark, but I do think even though she's probably the most one of the better WNBA players to come out of the draft, and some people thinking she's going to be the greatest ever, especially one of the greatest scorers. I do think that there's going to be a bit of an adjustment period for her, specifically on the road. She's playing against a really good Connecticut Sun team, a Suns team that went really far in the playoffs last year as well, and they were banged up without Brianna Jones, who does return. And I like that the Connecticut Sun got they pretty much got the band back together. DeWanna Bonner is still there. Alyssa Thomas is still there. She's like the Draymond of the WNBA, in my opinion. And then you got Dejanay Carrington. Mariah Jefferson is listed as questionable, but they got plenty of guards off the bench, and they're a much deeper team, in my opinion. Tiffany Mitchell, Rachel Branham, Natasha Harris off the bench. Like this is a team that's going to play really good defense, and that is going to be able to score the basketball, in my opinion, against a Fever team that's without, probably going to be without their leading guard here, Tiffany Mitchell. So Caitlin Clark will have all the opportunities, in my opinion, here, because she's going to be the best distributor of the basketball. So maybe even a look towards her assist to go over. But I think Aaliyah Boston, it's going. I don't know if she's going to struggle to score, but the Connecticut Sun got big bodies that they can throw at her. So Nalissa Smith is going to have to play well, but DeWanna Bonner and Coach White for the Connecticut Sun, I think will do a really good job against this Fever team. So I like Connecticut Sun -6, -6.5, -7. If you can still find a 6.5, that would be my top look, I think, for the whole WNBA today. Looking towards the Connecticut Sun as home favorites in game number 1. Thinking that the Fever struggle in this one. All right, let's keep it pushing. Let's see. Did y'all say anything about this game? Let's see. Cash Out says, I like Brittany Sykes' points, rebounds, and assists over. This would be a really good look, Cash Out. I think her points prop is 15.5. I looked at it this morning. Makes a ton of sense to me. Brittany Sykes going to have the ball in her hands a lot. Without Natasha Cloud being there, with Shakira Austin being on the minutes limit, and with no Elena Deladon, like, she is probably top 20 player in the WNBA. I think she could fall into or rise up to like top 15 this season. She's a two-way player that plays really good defense. She can score the basketball. She has a decent jump shot, and she can also attack the rim. So I think it's going to be difficult for her to score against the Liberty on the interior, but she could knock down some shots for sure. And she should be able. They typically play her big minutes. So I like Brittany Sykes as well. I couldn't talk you off her points, rebounds, and assists to go over. J Muse says Liberty money line with the boost. The odds of my Liberty money line will boost the odds of my NBA play tonight. Yeah, I mean, it definitely will. And I think that they shouldn't have a problem against this Mystics version of this Mystics team. Justin says, I don't cap WNBA. I'm telling every single WNBA pick, Chris. No pressure, though. I did it last year with you. It was very profitable, so back at it. Yeah, I made a little bit. I was slightly profitable in the WNBA. Not as profitable as I wanted to be. It was my first year capping it, too. So I definitely learned a lot. Went back and looked over my notes for this season as well. And I will be sharing my all of my WNBA resources for the members as well, if you guys are interested in becoming a member. PG says, people really not believing in Caitlin Clark. Interesting. So I don't not believe in her, PZ. I just think she's gonna have better matchups this season. When she plays against the Sparks, she probably gonna go crazy. The Sparks will not be a great team, in my opinion, this season. I'm not into playing her on the road. Her first WNBA game, I think there's gonna be some jitters there, and against one of the better defensive teams in the WNBA. So that's just my opinion. But if you like her props, go for it, because like I said, while I'm projecting Kelsey Mitchell doesn't play tonight with that ankle injury, she's gonna have all the opportunity tonight. And I think a look towards her assist. A lot of people just think about Caitlin Clark as a scorer. She can pass the ball. She's a very good distributor of basketball. And the Indiana Fever didn't have a good point guard last year. They did not. Kelsey Mitchell was a scorer, but she wasn't like their entry passes to Aaliyah Boston were terrible last year. So I agree. I'm not fading Caitlin Clark. I just think that it's more so a play on the Connecticut defense here. Cash out likes Asia Wilson rebounds. Asia Wilson got her hands full tonight against Brittany Griner. We're gonna get to that game in a second. J-Mew says no Caitlin Clark double. I mean, I don't know if she gets 10 assists, but we'll see how much the ball's in her hand. Also, we don't have to rush and like play all the plays on the first game. You can watch and just kind of, I'm real big into like watching these games and figuring out what happens and how teams are playing against certain players and other teams. So I don't think you got to rush it. I definitely don't think you got to rush it here. Boogie says Suns first half and Aaliyah Boston rebounds over. And Cash Out says like Caitlin Clark over her assist. She facilitated well in the preseason. I agree with that as well. TC Betts says he likes Jacquel Jones double at -110 on FanDuel. My favorite player today. Jacquel Jones she's a beast. She is an absolute beast. And with Shakira Austin's a really good defender. But with her being on a minutes limit, this makes a ton of sense. Jacquel Jones double, I think, is a really, really solid, solid play. If you're looking for player props, Jacquel Jones double, and Brittany Sykes. I know somebody mentioned it earlier. Brittany Sykes over her points, rebounds, and assists. Also, really good player prop looks. And like I said, Alyssa, if I'm playing Caitlin Clark, I think I like her assists a little bit more than her points, just because I think that's the hidden angle there. All right, let's go through the next two real quick. We got the Phoenix Mercury will be in Las Vegas against the defending champions, the back-to-back defending champions, the Las Vegas Aces tonight. And this line opened at 13, and it quickly started to get hit up. It's all the way up to 16 now. I see it coming back down to 15.5, but 16s are popping up. Total opened at 171. It's down to 169. If you know anything about the Aces, so it looks like they will start Kirsten Bell, who was one of the reserves last year. She'll be sliding into the starting lineup with Jackie Young, who will be playing the shooting guard. Kelsey Plum will be playing like a third guard role. They all kind of interchangeable at the guard position. And then you got Kia Stokes and Asia Wilson, one of the better WNBA players. This Aces team is really, really good. And I never really looked to fade them at home. The one thing that kind of really jumped off the page to me when I saw them laying, 13, 14, 15 points, I was like, man, that's a lot of points. But they are at home. And I just think back to last season. They played the Storm last year in the first game of the season. They won by like 40. Like I can't. I don't want to fade the Aces in their first game back home, man. Now, if you look into the Phoenix Mercury, this was a team that really, really struggled last year to score the basketball, and they really struggled. They played really slow. They didn't have a lot of scores, and with Brittany Griner out there trying to get back in shape, they never really pushed the pace, in my opinion. This is going to be a much more improved offensive and defensive team, in my opinion. They went out. They got Kalia Copper from the Chicago Sky, Morgan Birch. I think you pronounce it Birches. I think is how you pronounce it. I could be butchering that, but they got her, who was I think she was a second-year player. Got both of those ladies from the Chicago Sky. They re-signed Brittany Griner. She's returning, and then Natasha Cloud over from the Mystics are now on this team as well. And then they got a new coach as well, Nate Tibbetts. I think is how you pronounce his last name. So this Phoenix Mercury team is going to look a lot different. I was going through and kind of doing my due diligence on this team, they want to play faster, and they really want to play really good defense. They do have defenders because Kalia Copper is a good defender. Natasha Cloud, someone that plays really good defense. And of course, Brittany Griner is not going to let you score against her in the paint. She does a really good job of locking up the paint. So 16 is a big number. This is a game that I will be interested in watching. I think Aces early is probably a good look. First half for the Aces was a cash cow last year, kind of like Boston. You just expect these teams that are really, really good to play well. Always going to have a chip on their shoulder, the Aces do, because they hear the rumblings about, Caitlin Clark and about the Mercury, and these teams kind of taking them down, the Liberty. And they have this season, over the course of the season, they have a chance to three-peat for the first time in this decade. No team has three-peated since the 1990s. So it's a lot that goes in here. I do think from a matchup perspective, you're going to have Natasha Cloud at point guard, Kalia Copper at the shooting guard, and she's a scorer. She typically plays well against the Aces also. I know she had a really good game against them in Chicago last season when she was on the Sky. Then you got Diana Taurasi, who will probably end up playing the point guard between her and Natasha Cloud. But those will be like the three guards. Sophie Cunningham, who is I don't think about Sophie Cunningham playing the forward. I guess she is a forward. She's gonna have her hands full though, because I don't think about her as being a defender. To me, she can't really lock up anybody. And Brittany Griner, I don't think I paid attention to this. Brittany Griner is listed as out, and maybe that's why this line is moved. I'm finding out this live. Oh yeah, Brittany Griner's not there, which makes sense why the line moved so much. Aces team total over is now the play live. And it's something that I'll look a little deeper into. I was not aware that Brittany Griner was going to be out. Chelsea Gray is also listed as out for the Aces. Yeah, that means to me, in my opinion, that Phoenix is going to try to play a little bit faster. You don't have to establish Brittany Griner in the paint, so you probably will just run up and down the floor. With Chelsea Gray not being there, it makes sense that this total drop. She was probably the best or second best point guard in the WNBA last season. So that both of those things kind of impact the total, in my opinion. The Aces still have a strong defensive lineup. Kia Stokes is one of the better post defenders. Asia Wilson, of course, one of the better post defenders as well. And they're just gonna shoot a bunch of threes, man. If you never watched the Aces play, they play like the Golden State Warriors. They run a motion offense. It's a lot of screening, a lot of backdoor cutting, and a lot of three-point shooting. They like to play fast. They like to get up and out. So Aces first half spread probably is 8. I think I would look there. I do think it's going to take the Phoenix Mercury a few games to kind of get themselves established. And that was with Brittany Griner and, Kalia Copper and Natasha Cloud all coming together. Now without Brittany Griner, I think it's going to be a tad bit slow of a process as well. So I would probably look Aces first half if I had to play anything here. Like I said, I did not play this game yet. But Aces first half, it was a wagon at home last season. And without Brittany Griner, I just don't think that the Mercury going to be able to slow down the Aces offense. So that's why I would look there. Let's see what you guys saying about this one before we go on to the next one. Brittany was in a walking boot, most likely won't play today. She's already out, Kesha. I did not see that. Joe says Griner will not be playing. She's definitely out with a toe fracture. So what I see here is, I guess it's all the same thing. Fractured toe on her left foot will be reevaluated in the next coming week. So yeah, I think the Mercury probably going to be a fade, and I'll probably be looking towards the overs, in my opinion. Next couple days. Cash Out says Cloud will help the perimeter defense, and I agree with this. I do agree with this. I don't know how much she's gonna help it today against the Aces, but overall, yes. Jabari says I know nothing about the WNBA, but I bet the Aces spread like every game. Great team. Yeah, maybe sometimes they can pull the starters in the fourth, and you see them struggle to score the basketball a tad bit. Well, their bench. They were not a good bench team last year, and I don't think that bench is going to be too much better than it was last year. Cash Out says, Chris, sorry I was late. Getting on, did anyone touch on the Knicks Indiana over third quarter total points hit 100% since 2022? Now, I just like the full game over. I do think both teams will be able to score the basketball. And TC Best also reminded me that Brittany Griner was out. I missed that for some reason. And that's definitely a big part of the handicap here. let's see. So we hit on all that. And then the last game on the board, we have the Lynx and the Storm. This was also a game that I kind of like as well. So let's talk about it. So this line opened with the Lynx actually laying, the Lynx were laying, I just want to make sure I got it right. The Seattle Storm was laying 10, and lines come down to 8 now, down to 7 on some books as well. So money coming in on Minnesota to keep this game close. Total open 165.5 is down to 164 on some books, up to 165. So you can just kind of grab it wherever you like the total in this game. And this is a game where I do like Seattle here. I like Seattle. I think Seattle is the right side. So the Minnesota Lynx, we made some money with the Lynx last season. I do think that they're going to be a formidable team this season. I just don't like the spot from here. And they did add Alyssa Smith from Chicago. They also added Courtney Williams from Chicago. 2 really solid defensive type players, in my opinion. Courtney Williams is a pretty good point guard as well. I think that she'll be able to facilitate the offense for the Lynx and be able to get the ball to Nafisha Collier in the right spots where she wants it. But I think that could be some like a gelling stage for this Minnesota Lynx team. They did lose Lindsey Allen, who went to Chicago in that trade. And they also lost a couple of their bench players as well. Dorka Juhas won't be available for this game. And then who else was it? It was another key role player off the bench that they lost. And I think that's why I like the Seattle Storm in this spot. Oh, they also lost Tiffany Mitchell. I don't think Tiffany Mitchell's there anymore. She's now in New York, in Connecticut. And you look at the Storm, I think this team is going to be really good. I mean, there's already rumblings about them having, a big 3 and a super team, because they did. Seattle added Nneka Ogwumike, very, very seasoned veteran from the Los Angeles Sparks. They also added Skylar Diggins-Smith, and they already had Jewel Lloyd, probably the best scorer in the WNBA. She's they call her what do they call her? The Mamba, one of the Mambas. I don't know what color. I don't even want to like just make it up and tell you which Mamba they call her, but they call her the Mamba because she can really, really score the basketball. The Lynx, I think Nafisha Collier was probably one of the in the running for one of the WNBA players of the year. Like she had a really, really good season last year. And they do return Kyla McBride, who's a really good veteran guard. They also got Diamond Miller. She's going to take a step up. She was one of the better rookies in the WNBA last season. She's going to be inserted into the starting lineup, it looks like. And like I said, I already talked about Nafisha Collier. And then you got Courtney Williams and Alyssa Thomas, Elena Smith as well. But Dorka Juhas being out, Lindsey Allen being out. I don't think I really want to bet against Seattle. Seattle is going to be really, really good this season. I think with Jewel Lloyd, Skylar Diggins-Smith, you got Horston coming back. She was injured last season, went down last season. She can really score the basketball. She was a rookie. And like I said, you got Nneka Ogwumike and Ezi Magabor. I think people forget how good she was as well. She made the All-Star team last year. I think the Storm going to play fast. I think they're going to be able to score. And I think they're going to be able to play defense. So I do like the Storm in this spot. I think the Lynx on the road really, really struggle out the gate against the Seattle team. Now, could Seattle struggle to, find that chemistry at the beginning of the season? I think potentially, that would be the pushback here. But I do kind of feel like with them having, Skylar Diggins at the point guard position, she's aggressive defensively, she can facilitate, and she can score the basketball. I think that's the thing that kind of pushes this one over the edge for me. And if I had to play the game, I would be looking towards Seattle here. If you don't want to take Seattle, you can look towards their team total is 86.5, -120 on DraftKings and Bet365. And I think that they'll be able to score the basketball against this Lynx team as well. So potentially looking at their team total if you want to stay away from the side here. And then I also looked at road dogs getting 8 points in game number 1. It's typically, getting 8 points or more. Typically not a favorable spot. Those teams that are road dogs in game number 1 of the season, that's getting 8 points or more, just 2-15 straight up to start the season and 7-10 against the spread. So they're only covering about 41% of the time. So that means 59% that says that the Storm covers and wins this game here tonight. I didn't lock either one of these in, but if I had 2 plays on the board for today, well, if I had 3 plays on the board for today, it would be Connecticut Sun -6.5. It would be Aces first half, especially without Brittany Griner being there. And I think the chemistry that has to happen for this Phoenix Mercury team. And then I will be playing the Storm. I will be laying the 8 as well. So those will be my top 3 looks. And I see I just talked about it. What about Seattle team total over? I do think Seattle's going to be able to score the basketball. I really, really do. Minnesota doesn't. I know Elena Smith is a pretty good defender. At least Nafisha Collier, I don't think about her being a solid defender. She's okay. But I just think that they're going to really, really struggle. And I want to say that Seattle has the advantage in the paint, in my opinion. Nafisha is going to have her hands full trying to guard Nneka tonight, Nneka Ogwumike, in my opinion. As he can stretch the floor, like the Seattle Storm got a team that can all stretch the floor. All of these ladies can shoot the ball from the three-point line. Even Ezzy can shoot the ball. She plays center. She can even stretch the floor and shoot the 3 as well. Skylar Diggins-Smith, Jewel Lloyd, of course, is probably one of the better three-point shooters in the WNBA. And Jordan Horston as well. Like they can really stretch the floor. So maybe a look towards the team total over. Jay Muse says he's sprinkling on Seattle in a trifecta parlay. So like some first quarter, first half as well. And Jay Muse says thoughts on Skylar Diggins props. I didn't even look to the player props for her specifically, Jay Muse. But I couldn't talk you off, man. I think she's going to, like, I've watched her play in the preseason. She's looked really, really good so far. Really, really good. So I couldn't talk you off. Justin says, great show, Chris. Got to put daughter on the bus. I'll catch the rest of the show about 30 minutes. Appreciate you. Appreciate you as well for tapping in, Justin. This show turned into a little bit longer of a show. I didn't expect to be on here for an hour, but it is what it is, man. Let's see. Sai, my guy Sai says, Fever flew charter. They have the upper hand. I did see that they flew charter, but they probably flew charter to get smoked today, man. I don't like this Fever team. I like the Fever team, just not in the matchup against the Connecticut Sun. I think the Connecticut Sun are the right side tonight. And that'll be it, man. Getting to a quick recap before we get up out of here. Some of these I just kind of talked out, but I told you guys Connecticut. So let's just go NBA first. What's not on here is the over between the Knicks and the Indiana Pacers. I think if I'm playing that game, I am looking towards the over 216. Expecting the Pacers to score less, but still be able to score and push the pace. And expecting the Knicks to bounce back offensively. Maybe even get some foul calls. So I like the Knicks and the Pacers over 216. NBA play Minnesota, Denver. I like the under. Not just going to try to even pick, what's going to happen, but I do think it's more of a defensive type game. I think we see regression from the Denver Nuggets as far as offense. I don't think they shoot 57% from the floor again. I don't think Aaron Gordon goes 11 for 12 again. And I think Minnesota could continue to struggle as well outside of Anthony Edwards. So I like the under in both. I like the under in the Denver and Minnesota game. I like the over in the Pacers in the Knicks game. And then Connecticut Sun and Seattle, I would be landing points with both of those teams. You guys can see this is all a short list because I haven't made any bets yet. But these are my top looks for today in every single game. Hopefully that's helpful for you guys. As always, resources are here. And I got to add the WNBA resources because this is more. Than just this, but these are the NBA resources. And shout out to OzJam as always, man. If you guys are, interested in, just being able to find great sports betting software, definitely check out OzJam. There's a link in the promo where you can get 25% off your first month using code CBC. And last but not least, man, if you guys found the show helpful, do me a favor, hit that thumbs up, share the show, subscribe to the channel if you guys haven't. Link for all my official plays when they're made will be in the description. Bet responsibly. Best of luck as well. And I see says laying the points first half with the Aces. Most likely, yes. And I think that's why the line is so big. Aces, in my opinion, should have a double-digit lead at halftime tonight. They typically are fired up, especially at home, especially in game ones. And I see Joe says he's going to become a member. Appreciate that, Joe. We're just trying to cash, man. Just trying to cash and appreciate the support as well. Yeah, that's what I got for you guys today, man. Best of luck, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Enjoy your day. I'll catch you guys later. I'm out.